Hi, everyone. We made it to day 5 of our challenge week. Congratulations if you're still hanging in there. If you're watching this video, seriously, much respect. You have a lot going on. I know that because I also raised a spirited child or two, not to mention all the other stuff we have going on. So, really commend yourself for putting in the time for your family, for your child's emotional well being, for your families, all of it. So, today we have a bunch of stuff to do. Like I mentioned, I'm going to do a little workshop for you guys today, spur of the moment. So, I put together some slides and I'm going to share those with you guys right now. And we'll go over what we learned this week, what you guys did. Right? Hopefully, you can see the slides now. Fingers crossed. Okay. So, we'll go over what you learned this week. We will talk about how you can carry that with you and the enormous impact it will have in your family. And we are going to talk about the 3-step framework to a new life with your strong willed child. So, and we have surprises and a special offer for you guys too. So, stick around until the end. All right, let's rock. So, you likely joined the challenge this week because you're doing your best to raise your spirited child, but sometimes it seems like no matter what you do, your child is determined to argue, not listen, and challenge you at every turn. Accurate? Many days you feel guilty at the end of the day about losing your cool, and you feel resentful that you have such a difficult child. You wonder, am I a bad parent? And you feel like this isn't what I bargained for, right? When I anticipated raising children. You feel stuck in a cycle of threats, punishments, and negativity, and dealing with your child's negative behaviors often clouds out the fun, joy, and love during the day. Can I get an amen? All right. Again, today we're going to put the final pieces in place for stopping the cycle of negativity with your spirited child. We are going to talk about as much as I can from inside the Confident Connected program, including the full framework of it, which is the 3-step formula to confidence and connection. And we will celebrate the work that you guys have done and announce the giveaway winners. There's 2, the one from Thursday and the grand prize. A reminder, nothing that I teach is based on theory. Everything in the training has been tested and proven to work with all the families in my therapy practice over the years, as well as the hundreds of confident and connected students, in addition to my own family, which is, I think, the best way for all of us to learn, for me to have learned and seen how well things have worked. All the course material is grounded in child development, child psychology, and neuroscience research, which I think you would all anticipate. Me being a mental health professional, that matters to me. So during this masterclass, you're going to learn what you can do with the information that you have accrued, learned, and applied this week, and the life-changing 3-step framework for a more fun, calm, cooperative home with your spirited child without breaking their spirit. That is the tipping point, right? So we can say that we were raised a certain way and we turned out fine and all of that stuff, but really when it comes down to it, we want to do our best to give our child an emotionally healthy future. We want to do our best so that they move forward to love themselves so that then they can go love others in healthy ways and have good, strong, positive relationships, right? That all starts with loving ourselves, loving who we are at our core, not pretending that we're someone who we're not to please grown-ups, right? So it really is about how to guide and nurture and teach and discipline, which discipline and teach are the same thing. I think you guys know that by now. Uh, Knowing how to do that in certain specific ways with our kids is essential so that we don't crush their spirits and make them feel like there's something wrong with the essence of who they are. Okay, so the cycle of negativity and disconnection. This is the nasty little dynamic that we have been breaking through this week. We know, by now, the cost of staying stuck in the negativity cycle. Well, on an external level, behaviors won't improve because we know that what we focus on grows, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we expect negative comes, and what we focus our attention on will only continue to get bigger and bigger. It also damages relationships, which we've talked about, right now in the present, which is a huge hindrance to working together and cooperating, but also in the future, right? So, a really great study that drives the importance of this home is done by John Gottman. You may have heard of it. The Gottmans are very popular therapists, and their research is popular. They've been doing it for decades and decades at the Gottman Institute. And they found that for any relationship, and also they found clinically it applies to parent child relationships as well, there needs to be 5 positive comments a day to ever, or not a day, sorry, 5 positive comments. It's a ratio, general, not day by day, to every one negative interaction. 5 positive interactions to one negative interaction in order for that healthy balance for a good, strong, close relationship. Think about right now where you might be with your child. How many comments during the day, how many interactions are positive and how many are negative? And what is the impact of that on your relationship? So, these are the exact reasons you've been putting the work in this week and watching the videos and doing the tasks every day. So, when you take your child's behaviors personally, you cannot handle them effectively, period. Once you learn exactly why your child's behaviors feel like a threat and the exact steps to stop taking them personally, you can stay calm and level headed and respond effectively in the moment. We know losing our cool only serves to meet your child's needs for power and control. We talked about that this week. It's so important that you continue to look beneath the surface of your child's behaviors, which helps us to stop taking them personally and then resenting them and feeling disconnected from them. This is why we focused on this for day one. You are responsible for your parenting journey and how it plays out, right? It is not the other way around. And the way you think about and approach your child's behaviors will determine the quality of your relationship right now and into the future. And you do not want to look back in 20 years from now and carry guilt about the way you raised your child. I touched on this a little bit yesterday, and I got choked up doing the video yesterday talking about my own experience with my mom and how this played out for us. So I always tell parents, don't waste this precious time in a battle that you'll always regret. We have one parenting journey, right? We have it's precious time. We have kids that are starting to get now they one just turned 11 and the other one just turned 13 last month, and so now we're doing the whole countdown thing with summers, and my husband's mentioning, oh, well, we have X amount of this and X amount of that. And I'm going, I don't want to hear it. But the time doesn't last forever, time is fleeting. So this week, you started on a new path of not taking your child's behaviors personally. And when you continue to do this, you'll be so much less likely to be triggered by them, right? So, when you continue using the steps that you practiced this week, you will change the cycle of negativity and disconnection into one of more confidence and connection in your day to day interactions, right? And you'll achieve those desired changes in your child's behavior. So, this graphic is helpful because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, right? And expecting a different outcome. And if you're being honest, that phrase or metaphor might describe your family's reality right now. When we stop clinging so tightly to control, we can see that other approaches work way better to engage and motivate your strong willed child, but they're different approaches. We do not have a one size fits all child, period. We do not. Nothing good comes from trying to apply the one size fits all strategies. We've all done it. That's why we're here. So this week you learned how to push the pause button on doing the impulsive doling out, impulsive punishments, or threats. And if you continue to do this, to stop and not respond in this way, you'll be laying the groundwork for much less resistance for your child throughout the day and much more openness to listening and cooperation. If we truly want our child to respect us and listen to us, what we teach, um, listen to what we teach, our influence is paramount, right? We have been so conditioned to default to power and control all the time as parents, and they might work momentarily in the short term because that's the way our brains are wired to respond to fear. But it's not a healthy way of doing things or effective one for longevity. Any big old adult, who's has a physical advantage on a kid can throw out a punishment or yell, right, and get what they need in that moment. But this week you've practiced your confident leadership skills by managing your own emotions before asking your child to manage theirs. When you were practicing grounding yourself, taking your 3 breaths when you noticed yourself along that continuum, right, of thought, emotion, action. If you keep doing this, you will be modeling essential regulation skills, emotional regulation skills for your child, and in general, helping to contribute to a much calmer, more peaceful home. And these are all things I wish I knew 10 years ago. All right, so most of you probably knew a bit about me before the challenge this week, but just in case you didn't, um, I have walked and still am walking in your shoes. I'll share a couple things here about my own history and how the Confident and Connected method came to be, and then we'll get into the 3-step method to a new life with your strong willed child. So, after hitting rock bottom with my daughter when she was about 4, more on that later, it was the acts of getting rid of outdated parenting practices, habits, and learning new strategies based on positive discipline, attachment theory, neuroscience. And that was the best way, the number one way that things started to change day to day as far as gaining my child's compliance and cooperation more often. But it was not just these behavioral strategies, just not practicing positive parenting alone that made the biggest impact. It was how I tailored all of these strategies to the temperament, personality, and primary needs of my strong willed child. And then dug in to do the foundational work with mindset. And that is really, in the end, what mattered most. So I've been working with parents raising spirited, determined kids for 15 years. And then I became one. So I have an undergrad in child psych and a graduate degree in marriage and family therapy. And I've been practicing in private practice and I've worked at nonprofits and all that stuff too. Um, and all of a sudden, my first child was not what I bargained for. Um, so I was led on the journey of discovering a better way. So all of those things came together to contribute to my vision of creating a program that just didn't exist and I still believe doesn't exist, a program that is for parents that if it does, let me know. I don't think it does. And I'm almost certain of that. It's not just a parenting course. It's not just a parenting course because there's all the deep foundational self-reflection work, and self-improvement work on mindset. There's a lot of things that are life coaching basics, foundations, things um, that really are foundational before you get in there and you start learning strategies and applying strategies. You have to do that tricky work, and it is tricky. And I see why people steer away, shy away from teaching it because it is a great thing. But I think that was definitely an advantage that I had with a clinical background is how can I navigate these pieces and put them into practical applications in the course so that long-term success can be found. Not just here's some strategies, do them, but more about do the inner work. Here, I'll guide you, but you have to do it. You have to be willing to show up, recognize these patterns and do what you are able to turn them around, which is exactly what you started doing this week. And also the components in this course that nurture your child's well-being. That's the other thing that makes it stand apart from all others, right? There's lessons on all sorts of things with that, on how to nurture your child's regulation, on building confidence, building strengths, all of these things that my background and professional experience have led me to. So, if you can't tell, I'm pretty darn proud of it. All right. So, before I got there, though, rewind, I was where you might be today, or where you likely have been at some point. I felt completely ill equipped to be parenting my daughter. I felt judged all the time. My first two daughters, actually. I felt judged by family, friends, and onlookers. I would get unsolicited advice from people on how I could improve my child's behaviors and get her to listen. And I think we've all been there. And this is always frustrating because I found consistently in my clinical practice and parent coaching and teaching online since that the parents that are raising these kids are often really committed and motivated and intentional, and they have tried all the things. This is not a situation where they haven't tried. They are trying. So we get advice and it feels a little bit condescending, like, yep, I know, I've tried. I was exhausted from spending my days wrestling my daughter into timeouts and mentally drained from tracking her consequences and constantly nagging and explaining. It was just like a huge, never ending behavioral, what's it called? Hamster wheel. That's all it felt like. I resented my daughter, and at times I really honestly didn't like being around her. I felt like a bad parent, like there was something wrong with me or wrong with her. And it all came to a head one day when I was giving her a timeout, and I was, oh, man, we have been conditioned to be consistent, right? Follow through, be consistent. Those are good things in most instances. With anything in life, all of these things exist along a spectrum, right? If we're rigid about it, though, if we follow through, uh, completely sacrificing any flexibility, and if we're consistent, in that same way, that's called rigidity, and it's not gonna help, and it's gonna be disastrous for our strong willed kids. But that's exactly what I did. I'm a professional. I can be consistent. I can do this. And plus, oh gosh, my own personality. We didn't even get into that this week. How our kids with these temperaments trigger some of us more than others based on our own temperament and our own personality. And I'm determined and I'm competitive. So I had the mindset of, I've got to win this. I can do this. I can stick this out. I'm doing it for her, right? I'm doing it for her. This is what I need to do. And I was actually following a formula I had learned at a place that I worked in grad school. I'm not going to talk about the parenting method because there's just no reason, but it's still something that's in practice, and it essentially teaches you how to um, it's all behavioral 100%, and how to keep your child in a timeout. And if they are resisting being in the timeout, then you have to then take them. If that's not negative enough of a reinforcer for them, you have to then remove them and bring them to an even more negative location. So, because then, yeah, whatever. So then I brought her to her bedroom. She was in there. I closed the door. She needed to be in there. She needed to be uncomfortable, right? That's really what we're saying. That's really what we're doing when we put a kid in timeout. We're isolating them and hoping that by them being uncomfortable and suffering to some degree, that they're going to learn their lesson and they're going to want to do better next time. So, as I was standing there outside of her door, I was holding her door closed. This all feels yucky, but are all things I've heard families. It feels yucky to talk about it now. They're all things I've heard families talk about before. I know I'm not alone. And, holding the door shut so she couldn't get out. My daughter's screaming, wailing. She was 4 at the time, if I didn't mention that. I stood there for a while, and I don't know what it was about that moment, but for some reason, I was able to get clarity that I hadn't had. And it was one of those weird moments where you're floating above yourself, or it seems like you are, and you're looking down like, what in the world is going on right now? And it hit me that this little situation right here is not going well. What I'm doing is not working. It seemed like it had ratcheted up to this pinnacle of negativity, and I believe I had that insight after she finally backed away from the doorknob and just, I think, was laying down on the ground, crying and whimpering. And something about the way that her voice sounded, her vulnerability, I don't know, just shifted something within me. And I realized, what am I doing? Why am I standing on the other side of this door when my vulnerable, young, inexperienced child is on the other side of the door suffering? This is not right. So at that point, I went in, and the rest was history. So thankfully, moving forward with an open mind, um, at that point, I had no idea what I was going to do, what my approach was going to be. It kind of felt like my brain was just wiped. The slate in my brain was wiped clean. Like, okay, well, something's got to change. I don't know what, but right now I'm just in this moment. I'm just in this moment with her. And I think it was rare that I was in the moment with her then ever and wasn't up in my head trying to plan what I should be doing, what I could be doing, why wasn't she doing what she should be doing. So at that point, I started to discover positive discipline, positive parenting. These were new things on the scene. And honestly, I was able to see pretty immediate success when I started to prioritize simply, just do connection over control, just starting to have playtimes with her and connect with her and be present with her. I started to not feel so guilty at night, all of these things that I list here. Things got a little more lighter and fun. I seemed to be able to have a little bit more influence over her. Um, and things were going much better, but all the pieces weren't in place yet. So let's talk about the 3-step framework to raising your child without breaking their spirit. So there's 3 parts here. We're going to go over them kind of quickly. The first one is discover. So we're going to learn what makes your spirited child tick and better understand why they do the things that they do. So in this phase of the method is where we dig into mindset, which you guys got a little sneak peek, a little tiny micro peek into that this week, which I've never done with anyone before in any workshops or anything. So that was new, and I hope it went well. It's a big thing to cover, which is why I normally don't do it with a lot of nuance. I wasn't able to squeeze it into 5-minute videos, but I did mostly squeeze it into 10-minute videos. So from learning this week that when it comes to how you show up in the world, how you show up with your child each day, it all starts with your thoughts. The first step to anything is changing the way that you look at your child's behaviors, how you think about parenting, all of those things. And without this step, no long-term consistent progress will be possible. This just period the end. When you dig into your emotional triggers and where they come from, you can neutralize their power considerably. So many people, like I mentioned, totally skip this step when they're learning new parenting approaches because, first of all, they probably don't know the power of the neuroscience behind it and how it drives so much of what we do. And our culture really doesn't promote it, right? We're taught that we can do something quick, there's a quick fix, we'll apply it, no big deal. That is not how we do it in the Confident Connected method. In this step, phase 1 of the method, we also dig into what makes your child tick. So changing your thoughts becomes much easier, right? How we practice thought flipping on day 3. It becomes much easier when you understand your child and their behaviors, when you understand temperament, personality, child development, what phase they're in. You'll feel like you unlocked the secrets to better understanding your child. And then as a result, getting through to them, which I'll get into more in a second. So, yeah, knowing our kids are strong willed, not enough. You need to know what that means exactly and then how to use that information most effectively to guide them. Your child's strengths and gifts. Something that is so, so often missed with our strong willed kids. If we go back to the Gottman research, right? We focus. We have a negativity bias as humans. We focus on the negative. So often our child's strengths and gifts get ignored, and they really are amazing. So it is really detrimental, because our world needs their gifts 1,000,000%. We're so overwhelmed, we forget to intentionally work towards developing their gifts and strengths. And as a child therapist, this is one of those little child well being things that's laced throughout the framework. This is an essential part. Being intentional about this will give your child such a boost in their emotional health and well being, because it's something that we just don't take the time to do as parents. When I was in my private practice, I would ask kids, "What are you good at? What are strengths?" Sometimes kids couldn't say one single thing, you guys. So sad. Um, all right. This gives your child a foundation of confidence, self worth, and self efficacy, right? Absolutely. Also, um, one of my main missions as a child therapist and a proud mom to spirited kids is to smash the good kid myth, right? Um, Only kids with certain strengths and gifts are good kids. Ugh, that drives me up the wall. All kids are good kids, even if we don't understand them, and even if they happen to make our life a bit more challenging. Guess what? We learn and grow from challenges. So, this is some feedback from Lorraine, a student who went through Confident Connected method, and how really digging into this initial foundation helped her. She says, I've really focused on the areas of temperament and the best techniques to deal with his exact combination of characteristics, breaking away from patterns I was raised with. And now, when he does have moments, they are shorter lived. Yay. And Lisel has similar comments. Really, she found this beginning part of the method really impactful for her. And she said, my 5-year-old son, who was the motivation for signing up, this knowing this information about him has improved our relationship in every way. And now I'm able to take these things and use them for the younger sibling. I love it when things like that happen, when people say, "Oh, this was so impactful. Now we can have another baby," because we feel like we're actually maybe knowing what we're doing. That's literally happened multiple times, with students. Okay. Or also kids get old enough where parents realize their temperaments and they say, "Oh, I've got another strong-willed kid." It's a good thing because I'm prepared and ready to rock. Okay, we're on to step 2 of the method, which is influence. So this is becoming a confident and effective leader for your strong-willed child's big emotions and behaviors. Lead from inspiration, not desperation. I love this quote. Force, coercion, and threats might work in fleeting moments, but it comes at the detriment of your child's trust, love, and intrinsic motivation. Kind of important stuff. You want your child to listen because they're motivated internally. This is the kind of motivation that lasts long term, where you don't have to bribe them or threaten them, right? When you learn the secrets to motivating your strong willed child, you will no longer have to defer to the desperate crutches of yelling, threats, all of those things we do when we're triggered, right? Because you'll know what motivates them from the inside. And there's a unique formula for that. Your child learns from what you do, not from what you say. Spirited kids have intense emotions and need more support learning how to manage their emotions in appropriate ways. Can I get an amen? So these intense emotions can be a source of strength for your child if they learn the healthy principles of emotional regulation. The best way they'll learn this is from you teaching and modeling it. So this process is different for every child, and it can be really overwhelming, but with intention and support, it really absolutely doesn't have to be. So this is Greta. She is a Confident Connected Method student and now, or alumni, and now she actually is a team member and works with me. So she says, I walked into the course feeling defeated alone, and that this was my last hope for something that could help. Upon finishing the course, I was more confident in my role as a mom. I felt like I could finally effectively advocate for my child and his unique needs. This is my favorite part. And have continued to grow to love my son more for exactly who he is. That is good. All right. And Stephanie said, this part of the course, learning how to be a confident, effective leader, knowing how to motivate, really learning how to get through to her child, allowed her to be able to um, have much more positive interactions with her kids when she was realizing how she was contributing negatively and how that was impacting their motivation and how she could do things differently. We're on our last step here. Step 3 is empower. It's mastering the art of effective and character building discipline and problem solving systems with your spirited child. So, conventional discipline doesn't build intrinsic motivation, doesn't help the child learn the skills to behave more positively next time, and it doesn't address underlying reasons for challenging behaviors so you can figure them out, navigate through them for next time, right? We're only addressing the symptom with conventional discipline, not the cause, right? It also what it does too is erodes your child's confidence, creates more resistance, nurtures resentment, and gives you a way to quickly offload your frustration. It sets up a adversarial dynamic. Doesn't create the conditions that your child's brain needs to learn. I could go on and on and on, but I will not. So we need to find a different way, right? Your discipline can actually help your child take personal responsibility without shame. It can help build empathy and consideration for others, and it can teach lifelong skills of critical thinking, self reflection, and problem solving. When you have a reliable framework for communicating and problem solving with your child, you'll always be prepared. So then we can go from reactive to proactive. Why do we focus all of our energy on what is happening, what happens after the thing or during the thing, right? Why do we forget to be proactive and try to prevent these negative situations, negative behaviors, challenging, stressful situations, right? This is one of the most important ways that you'll help your strong willed child is by helping them solve problems to together, working with them as opposed to working against them, right? When they feel this shift in the energy, that you are on a team, right? It is us together against the world, not me versus you. The dynamic shift that you'll see is absolutely amazing. And this happens in the framework by using intentional communication principles and frameworks that will engage your child and lower their defenses. So phrases that work well, phrases that don't. We go way more into declarative language and all of the kinds of phrases and ways to approach and communicate strong with kids that work and that do not work, that actually repel them. And as it turns out, these are all the essential skills needed to succeed out in the world someday. So you're boosting their life skills in a major, major way with this piece of the framework. Lisa said, I took the 7-week course and the methods have changed me and how I choose to see my incredible daughter, and our relationship is getting better. Let's see. I like Michelle's. I was just going to skip this one, but I'm not going to. It has helped me. The framework has helped me so much, not just as a mom, but as a woman. I felt for the last 3 years of her life, I haven't been living up to the mother I always wanted to be. I see now my ego, the fears I project, and the unrealistic standards I set solely out of fear. And those are things she was able to work through, with guidance and with coaching in that initial phase of the framework. Okay. Right. So we talked about discover, influence, and empower. Those are the foundations of the confident connected method. So if you take away one thing from the training today and one thing from this week, it is that I want you to know you can raise your strong-willed child and gain their cooperation without breaking their spirit or your relationship. It is absolutely possible, and I think you got a taste of that this week without a doubt. So, the big question is how can you apply this framework to your own family and tap into the power of parenting strategies tailored for your more complex child? You do not have a run of the mill child, you have a more complex one. So, because sometimes in our society, sadly, it feels like spending money on self development or learning about ourselves, learning about our family, learning about parenting are unnecessary or over the top or, extra things. even though we very easily go drop $100 on a manicure and a pedicure, or a month of cable, a dinner out, blah, blah, blah. Need I go on? I think you're getting what I'm putting out there. But when it comes to, spending money on our family's happiness and well-being, nah, that's extra. Um, so anyhow, to put things into perspective, I think this is honestly helpful to look at this scenario from the outside world, where we actually do know that we're going to have to make investments in certain things in order to get change and make change happen. So consider this: you buy your family's dream home. You've probably already read the slide. You discover when you move in, the foundation is damaged. You're absolutely shocked and disappointed, of course, that your home is not what you expected, and you don't have a clue how to go about it. You're tired from the exhaustion of packing and moving and don't have a lot of extra cash laying around, because nobody does when you move, right? But you also don't have any personal knowledge of construction or home foundations. Ugh, what a nightmare that makes. That actually just like makes me sick reading it, thinking about that actually happening, literally. But anyway, um, so if you were in that situation, what would you do? Would you go the DIY route and painstakingly search for research and tutorials on how to fix your home's foundation, hoping that what you find actually works is credible? Um, who knows how long it will take? Or you can hire an expert, right? Let's call him Chip, because we all know Chip and Joanna Gaines, right? With the experience and training that Chip has, he can pinpoint the specific origin of the damage and lay out the steps you need to fix the issue. Your decision literally impacts the health and well-being of your family, you guys. So, what would you do? Um, so if you're here today, I believe that you aren't. I think that you can be a DIY person, but I also think that you can see the value in not being a DIY when it comes to what really matters. I like doing DIY things. I'm going to do some holiday projects coming up. I like painting furniture. I actually really like that stuff, but not when it comes to things that are the most important priorities in my life. All right. So, choice one is you can waste tons of time and effort trying to battle through trial and error with your strong willed child, feeling isolated, frustrated, and exhausted, and risking your relationship, which I certainly did. I was ready to enter that battle and did for 4 or 5 years of my own parenting journey. Or choice two is you can fast track your results and follow the Confident Connected method. So, this course is open for you to join the Confident Connected method, which I'm sure you picked up on. And I will announce the things that I was going to mention that um, are first of its kind things. Sorry, I'm looking at too many things right now coming up. So I'm not going to go into detail with all of these lessons. I'm just going to give you a really quick overview. Plus, there's been material that's been added. There's a whole section that's been added on navigating your parenting triggers, and other little sections that have been added on too. So, this is the bones though of the curriculum inside Confident Connected method course. Lesson 1, like I said, is all about mastering your parent mindset. We talk about cleaning out your mindset house, and I walk you through that, how you can clean out your mindset house, how you can dial in to all of the garbage thoughts that are cluttering things up and making life harder than it needs to be, and how then we replace them. We replace those thoughts. So, similar to what we did this week, but way more in depth and detail. And you are going to actually work through it and log things and really dig into your personal history and different areas of where things can be coming from. Okay. And you'll get all the science on why it matters, which is helpful to know, because it's a part of the why, right? Why am I doing all this hard work? When you learn about all the brain science and how powerful it is, it's a pretty good motivator to follow through and do it. Because that's an ongoing journey that you will be practicing forever with your thinking, right? And your mindset. Um, Lesson 2 is unlocking the secrets of temperament personality. So you'll get a crash course on the recent decades of research and temperament, personality theory, ages and stages, developmental theory. You don't have to search for all that stuff, it's all there for you. Lesson 3 is how to find and nurture your child's strengths and hidden potential. This one I love because it's just something that gets missed. Like I said before, you'll be able to dial into your child's strengths and you'll be able to amplify them. I'm going to give you strategies to be able to help grow and nurture those strengths within your child. Lesson 4 is mastering the art of motivation. This is a student favorite because once you work through the formula for finding your child's motivation, it's pretty awesome to see how effective it can be. Um, so you'll learn kind of general what to say and do, and what not to say and do with a strong-willed child, and then you'll also go through the formula for figuring out your unique child and how you can specifically motivate them based on their characteristics. And this is where you're really going to see a change in your child's ability to comply and listen and cooperate with you when you are speaking their language, so to speak. Lesson 5 is taming tough emotions. So it's all about emotional regulation. You're going to help your child learn how to handle their big feelings. It's all brain based. It will take you step by step through the neuroscience of uh, helping your child calm down, how to proceed based on like what phase of meltdown they're in, all right, what level, how dysregulated they are, and then how to approach from there. Lesson 6 is damage free discipline. So we talk about the difference between, um, you know, we talk about discipline being teaching, what exactly that means, and we talk about changing consequences to thinking about it as more as boundaries. And then we talk about different types of boundaries, when you might need to set those, how that can look based on your child and what's going on, and so on and so forth. And most of all, really learning how to be a strong, confident leader. This is something that I know I struggled with for years because I came from the old conventioning parenting mindset, trying to shift into positive parenting after just doing, trying to put some things together DIY. But I didn't have the foundational work done to really embody confidence and leadership and authority to my child. So I was following through with the interventions, but doing it in a little bit of a wishy washy way. These are things I wasn't aware of, right? Probably little nuances in my tone of voice, in my behaviors, maybe a little inconsistency because going tracing it back to my thinking, it was probably unhelpful thoughts about, "Oh no, I'm gonna do more damage to my kid. Oh no, I better be careful. If I say this, this will happen." And so it's a matter of working with that, all of those old habits and figuring out how you can really step into this new authoritative leadership role because your child absolutely needs that as a strong-willed kid. They need you to know you're in charge, believe that you're in charge. That doesn't, yeah. So that is as big of a part of it as anything. And then finally, lesson 7 is communication and problem solving. So you're going to get frameworks on how to approach your child in the moment, to talk things out with them if you're in a challenging situation, or there's challenging behaviors happening, and also afterwards, how you can work through things. Right, we know, we've heard enough now, making your child apologize isn't effective. Well, what is? How do we help teach our child accountability? How do we help to make sure that we do talk through with them, the situation, what happened, what was and wasn't okay, and why? And then how do we hold them accountable and teach them to try to make different choices going forward? Well, this is how these frameworks give us those tools. This is amazing because it's a step by step formula for handling any problem or challenging behavior now and in the future. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed by, oh no, this is happening again now. What are we going to do? Well, you work the framework. You use the exact same formula to go through and work on the collaborative communication um, tools. Okay, so when you join the Confident and Connected method, you will get a bunch of bonuses, and you can see these on the page where you can sign up. So I'm not going to go through them in detail. But you can see you get Managing My Emotions Toolkit, monthly live coaching calls. So you will have access to me live to ask questions once a month. Um, Pick my brain, tell me what's going on with your child. You can submit those questions anytime privately or in the group. The course community, you will be welcomed if you so choose. I think about 65% of our members now have our students are in the community. Some aren't, and that's totally fine too. They communicate with me via email. There is the Facebook community, which is, all access to tools. You can stay on track, updates, reminders. Greta and I are in there answering questions for you, usually within 48 hours during the work week, and just an awesome place to get support from others. We all learn a lot from each other and things that we all bring to the table. Um, you will get your positive discipline quick startup set, and I'm going to go back to this. Honestly, you get when you sign up for the course, you'll get pretty much everything I have, I believe, like all the products in my shop, in my Parents with Confidence shop, because why would I not want to hook up my students? You guys working with my Confident Connected students has always been my favorite thing. And you guys are my people. So I always, if I'm creating something, I'll put it in there. I'm like, here, you guys have access to this now. Which is why I'm a therapist and I'm not a good business person. Um, but anyway, there's also another bonus now to that end. You will receive the students now have access to all the master classes that I've taught. So there's sibling rivalry, there's all sorts of great ones. So that's a bonus too that's not even on here. All right, and then there's a few today that are fast acting bonuses, and this is why, or I mentioned that there was something special if you were watching the video today next, let's say 24 hours, because you're not going to get it until a little after 12 on Friday. If you sign up within the next 24 hours, you'll be able to get these two fast acting bonuses, which are pretty awesome. There's the Motivation Acceleration Clinic. So that's it, or it used to be called the Compliance Clinic. It's essentially a quick boost of lesson 4 into motivation, and it will help you jump into that right away before going through the first few lessons. Um, it says jump straight into the goods on motivating your child and learn the quick secrets of inspiring your child to listen and cooperate with the bonus video workshop. I think it's 20 or 30 minutes long. It's not too long, but packed with super awesome stuff on helping your child to listen and cooperate. There's also the Declutter Your Mindset masterclass. So this is going to give you some quick tips and hacks on how you can handle any behavior or challenge in your home. And this is another masterclass that will essentially just help build on what you've learned this this week, some tools that you're going to be able to put in place right away and that you're really really gonna like. So when you sign up for everything, obviously you'll get immediate access to everything, and everything is valued at almost $4,000, you guys. um, and normally you'd be able to get started for $97 um, a month for 6 months. So that's going to be different for you guys, though. So hold on, hang with me. The question isn't if you'll gain more confidence in your parenting and connection. The question is, how will your and your child's life improve as a result? So I did want to introduce you to a few other students, but I'm not going to do that because it's just getting long and I don't think we need to do that. Um, so we're just going to skip through. I like this one. Marie said, when I found this course, I'm telling you, it was the answer to my prayers. Seriously, though, I cried reading your every word because I felt like I landed in the right place. When I hear that, it is music to my ears. Okay, so we're going to talk about our winners, and then we will talk about the special announcement. So, our winners of our grand prize and our Thursday Day 4 challenge prize, our grand prize winner who gets to pick 3 masterclasses from My Parents with Confidence shop is Jeff Tress. Dun, dun, dun. So, congrats, Jeff, on getting your neurons flowing, doing the work. So awesome. I will reach out to you in regards to that. And last but not least, Rachel McKay won the Therapist Best Calm Down Tricks and Tips Masterclass. Way to go. You guys, we had a lot of giveaways this week. There were a lot of winners, a lot of you engaged in the challenge, which I was not expecting, especially this time of year. So this is amazing, and I'm so glad that I can hook you guys up with some extra goodies. So, honestly, though, as I mentioned before, I had something special to share with you guys. You guys are all winners because I'm doing something that I haven't done in the last 4 years of teaching this course, not even once, and that is putting it on sale, having a special for you guys. I had fun with my little graphics here. So, Confident Connected Method has sold for $497 is the one-time payment and higher. Um, and really, what was I going to say? I just totally lost my train of thought. So for the next 3 days, you can join the course for 40, yes, 40% off. I'm not going to tell you my thought process into how I got there. That's, I think, what I was thinking that I was going to do, and I'm not going to do that. Essentially, I want you guys, it caught me off guard how ready you guys were to jump in. And it being close to the end of the year and we're ready to start a new year, I feel like now is a great time to try to get as many parents into the course as we can, because this is life-changing information and I want as many parents raising these more complex kids to feel more hopeful and more confident going into the next year, 2023. Can you believe it? So you can see here what the pricing used to be. So this is a huge deal, you guys. It'll be there for you through Monday. So you'll have 3 full days. If you want the fast action bonuses, then sign up today, sign up within 24 hours. And I'll get those to you right away. Otherwise, 3 days to decide if you want to take advantage of this deal. Okay, so this is the page when you click on the button that's I don't know what it's going to say because I didn't set it up yet, but when you click the button on the screen, it will take you here, or actually take you to a page that gives you all the information on the course, and you'll be able to look through the lessons more in detail and all of that information if you want to comb through it more, share it with your partner, etc. And then eventually from there, you'll make it to this page. So you guys are going to have a special coupon. The coupon code is challenge, and it's going to take the discount, the 40% discount right off the top for you. So the question isn't whether or not you'll improve your child's and family's quality of life, but what is that improvement worth to you? So we have, these are our bonuses again. So the quick compliance clinic is one of the fast action bonuses. Gain your child's compliance without negativity, threats, and punishments in 7 days. And then the Calm Parent Masterclass fast action bonus, which is, the foundation for any positive change. The strategies are going to be absolutely essential and super helpful for giving you a good start to the course. All right, so let's talk about a few really quick questions that are common that I get all the time in the Q&A. How long will the course take? The course, this is different for everyone. The course has 7 modules. It used to be live taught, which is some of the reason why the price used to be higher, but things have completely changed. This is another reason why I'm restructuring things, you guys, because things have completely changed since the pandemic. I used to sit on 90-minute coaching calls every week with parents, and now there isn't as much interest for that. People want quick solutions. They want to be able to go and find what they need, ask their question, um, and they want to be able to access the material all at once. So when I say live taught, I mean it would be dripped out one lesson a week, because following through in order and all of that is really important. But you guys spoke up, students spoke up and said, we want to be able to go through it on our own. So it depends on how long it will take. I would recommend that you take a week per lesson. And you can take, there's one, it's called 8 weeks. Usually we say 8 weeks to a new life, but that is with 1 week built in, a 1 week break in the middle. So it's up to you how long you want to move through. All of the recommendations and guidelines for how you can move through timing wise are in the first intro, the welcome section of the course. So, research shows us that real progress comes from small daily changes. We are hacking our brains in this course, you guys, in this program. I'm not throwing a bunch of information at you and saying, I'm done, right? I'm trying to apply the teaching methods that will really work to help it stick. So you'll thrive in this course if you have just 30 to 45 minutes a week to dedicated to consuming the content, and then 5 to 10 minutes a day for the application and implementation exercises and strategies, which you proved this week that you can do. How long will I have access to the course? Well, actually, now that I think about it, why don't we do some of these? I'm going to email you guys with this Q&A so we can wrap up the course here. Wrap up the training. I mean, um, yeah, let's do that. And also, I wanted to address, I know I mentioned to somebody that I would address the question of how can I help my partner understand investing in the course, and what do I do if my partner is not on board? And I will also address that in an email instead of now. And I think that's it for now. So I hope you guys take advantage of this first of a kind offer. I hope I see you inside of the program. I will be there. Greta and I will be there to welcome you with open arms, and you'll have access to everything right away. You'll get an email every 2 weeks. We send out a Confident Connected Corner email to keep you posted on anything new, any new bonuses, anything that's been added into the course. Another thing you guys should know is that the content is in the process of being converted to video modules right now. Right now, there is written in audio. So you go through and it's text, you read it, or you can listen to the audio recordings. In the new year, in January, you will be able to watch everything on video. So we are also adding that. Just in case that is helpful to know. So it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you guys all week during the challenge. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I hope that whether or not you decide to come join the program right now, I know that you'll move forward with more confidence and more connection because of this week. And yeah, I'm always here. I can answer questions anytime at Angela@parentswithconfidence.com. Oops, I'm still sharing my screen. Let's turn it off. Oh, no, I did stop. I did stop sharing it. Okay. So that's it. That is a wrap for Challenge Week, you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys on the other side. See you around.